What up everybody, Art here with a quick update about the Filter Factory. A lot has gone down in about the week since it's come out, and I just wanted to fill all of you in. I guess the first thing we should address is the elephant in the room. After 3 days of release of my LUT package and suggesting to people that GitHub app, Tarkov and their developers, Battlestate Games, fully blocked the use of this application. As I learned later, their terms of service is a huge gray area, and there's not really any clear and defined what you can and cannot do. There are people using sound equalizers that are technically cheating. By their wordage, some of the NVIDIA control panel things that you can use to get close to my LUTs are also cheating. So, after all the excitement, I am going to stop developing filters for Tarkov entirely. I will not be pursuing any kind of workarounds because they don't use logic there and they don't follow any kind of logical path. So even if I were to introduce something that was built into Windows, I'm sure they would find some way to either disparage me or screw the community over somehow, and my goal was only ever to help. So that's the end of the Tarkov filters. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video though, because I will be providing new film emulation filters for Al Mazrah and Asika Island. So I'm gonna just take a second to issue a disclaimer. After all the drama with Tarkov, I just wanna say if you use this application, you use it at your own risk. I've explained that it works like an overlay, like Discord. It projects a pixel shader onto the GPU generated images and then delivers it to your monitor. So it never interacts with the game in any kind of real way. It doesn't know where players are. It doesn't ever query the server. It goes over it like NVIDIA filters. This is why the Tarkov ban was so confusing to me. Alas, I digress. We're not going to return there. We had a large testing bed of a lot of content creators and friends of mine, all of whom play the game very well. None of them have been banned, and there's been no issue. Like I said, it functions like an overlay. There's really not any way for this to be used for malfeasance. The next thing is performance. We made bold claims that this didn't affect your frames. We tested a lot of different systems. Some of us had mid-old gen systems. A lot of the content creators had brand new Juice systems with 40 series cards and brand new Intel chips. So in retrospect, we could have tested a wider sample base of systems. Insert a section here from my new friend FourEyes. I'll link his YouTube down below. He joined the Discord while we were creating this whole Filter Factory system and really helped community members troubleshoot some of the performance issues that they were having.
It's FourEyes or Dave here. I cover Warzone settings and tips over on my YouTube channel. The DWM LUT application is putting more strain on the GPU and VRAM than we initially thought. So if the application's causing your FPS to drop in-game, then it's likely you're in a GPU-bound system. Let me explain. The MW2 benchmarking tool, whilst not being great for testing realistic FPS values inside your games, is actually very good for testing whether there's a bottleneck happening in your system. Myself and many of you guys having FPS loss using DWM LUT likely have a large GPU bottleneck as shown in the tool here. This leads to a much lower FPS being pumped out by the GPU than what could potentially be supported by the CPU. The lower of the two FPS values here is going to be the main determining factor in your overall FPS you're achieving in game. Because DWM LUT affects the performance of the GPU, you can see in this example here, this GPU bound system, the potential FPS output from the GPU drops from around 200 to 180, which you will definitely feel in game as about a 20 FPS drop. If instead you're in the situation where your CPU is considerably weaker and therefore your system is CPU bound, you can see here the CPU becomes the determining factor in your FPS. So even if you started off with a GPU FPS of 250, you turn on the filters and you go down to 220, either way, you're going to be sitting at 200, so you're not going to be seeing an FPS loss from using DWM LUT. Another really important discovery, though, that was made while testing Warzone 2 FPS using CapFrameX here, was that the area of the map that you do your testing on in Al Mazrah has an effect on how much FPS you lose. In areas of the map which stress your GPU less and lead to higher FPS in general, like the desert areas, the loss in FPS from turning the filters on was very, very minimal. But then when we move to areas that stress the GPU more and therefore give lower FPS in general, the FPS loss was far greater. This is from a test that we did while actually swimming in a river. The current best solution if you want to alleviate these FPS problems you're having with DWM LUT is to run the upscaling methods of either DLSS at quality with 100 sharpness or FSR 1.0 at ultra quality. Both of these will render your game out at a lower resolution and then upscale them back to make them still look nice and sharp, but it will stress your GPU a lot less and lead to far less or even no FPS loss.
Seriously, big shout out to FourEyes for putting that together in such a short amount of time. Again, his channel is linked down below. If you're having issues with the app black screening when you're trying to launch Call of Duty, make sure that you're running the Filters app as administrator, and also make sure that your Windows is up to date. Another thing that you need to make sure to do is turn off any overlays, because the act of enabling an overlay can conflict with the LUT software. Some people are having this weird DLL corrupted error. What I found this to mean is you either have multiple versions of the app on your system, maybe an old version that you tried that didn't work and now you're downloading the new version. If you're trying different versions, make sure you delete the entirety of that app and empty it from the recycle bin, or the new version of the app will try to grab files from that folder and it will not work. If the app still won't work, make sure your current Windows version is up to date. I'm not saying take your Windows PC from 10 to 11, but make sure your Windows 10 is most up to date. And if you're on Windows 11, make sure you're up to date there as well. If you're having trouble installing the application, I recommend you join the Discord. There's a lot of helpful people in there and I try to check it once a day. If there are any software nerds out there, I'd love for them to join the Discord and at me. Maybe we can figure out a way to make this more efficient for the lesser systems out there, and as well add something simple like a hotkey to the application. Right, you made it to the end of the video. I appreciate that. Here on the screen right now are some wipes and walks of the new Asika Island map with 2 new LUTs. I'm offering one that I'm calling Kodak, like Kodak. This is an iteration of a Kodak Gold kind of movie film look, and it looks so good on Al Mazrah. It provides a beautiful golden sheen and makes the blues really blue. This will also work great on Asika Island, but my personal favorite of the ones that I've been working on this week is Fuji Art, which don't at me, my chat named it. This is based off of a Fuji film. Fuji has a historically green hue to it, and this just really pops on Asika Island. The pinks and the cherry blossom trees look great, and the blues really, really pop. Links to the original video on how to install the application and set up filters are below, as well as download links to the 2 new filters in today's video. If you're enjoying the filters, like the video, subscribe, click the bell so you know when I upload another one. Comment down below, y'all. What other games do you want to see these filters for? If you have any other styles of filter you want to see for Warzone, join the Discord. There's a filter request channel. You can let me know there. I'm live a lot on Twitch. I'm not very good at Call of Duty, but I'm pretty funny. Twitch.tv/art_is_war. And until the next video, I'll see you later. Peace.